let people in. Good morning and welcome. We're very happy to have you here. I want to welcome Raquel Sanchez. Raquel is a very important person to the PATHS program because she came to us as an intern and now she has moved on and she is working at DHR, and I'm going to let her tell about herself. So Raquel, how are you doing this morning?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Why don't we start off with you telling us a little bit about high school, when you went to high school. Where did you go? What did you do? Tell us about that.
Okay, so I attended Economies High School, which is in Edinburgh. I graduated in 2015. When I was in high school, sorry, I was in student council, so I feel like that really helped me to gain some social skills that I probably wouldn't have had. So it kind of also helps you to connect with people that they have never met. So, you know, staying involved in.
We lost your sound a little bit, so.
Can you hear me?
Talk a little louder and there.
Okay, so yes, I was saying, I guess just staying as involved as much as possible will help you to stay, you know, active, and then also as well as like learn different stuff, different skills, and then also meet people that you will be friends with for the rest of as long as possible.
Mhm.
And did you have a question?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so did you want me to talk about, you know, what I did to prepare for college?
Yeah, what courses did you take and what extracurricular activities did you participate in? And what was your career ideas when you were in high school? Because I'm not doing what I had planned to do, but I wondered if you're doing what you planned to do.
Yes, me too. So I thought I was going to be a doctor. I wanted to go, actually, I wanted to be a PA. But once I got to college, that changed twice. So in high school, I was, you know, biology focused. I was so convinced that I was go into college and get a major in biology. But of course, that changed. But in high school, I did take all the courses. By the time I became a senior.
Again, your volume's gone out a little bit.
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get a little closer.
Okay.
So I took all the AP courses that were available, and then I also took dual courses that were available through STC. And then when I became a senior, I was so ahead of everything that I was able to have half my day was AP courses or dual courses, and then the rest were electives. So I remember I took just different stuff to kind of get myself out there. I was in photography, I was in guitar, I was in mariachi. So I guess that was the fun part of, you know, or the good part about finishing early, getting ahead, taking as much classes as you can, as soon as you can, so that when you become a senior, you're able to explore different options that you do have and maybe discover, you know, something that you didn't think that you liked, you actually do like. And it's also fun to just, you know, enjoy your last year.
Right.
Exploring different. And then of course, it gives you time to get ready for college.
What I would always tell students is you get to learn if you like to do it or not for free. If you wait till you're an adult, you have to pay for that kind of stuff. So yes.
That's true. And then of course, preparing for the college side of things, we did have what was called, I believe it was called just financial aid. It was a room there at high school, and we had financial advisors, and we would go and we would, it's like sometimes we had the option, if we didn't want to take a lunch, you can take your hour there and just apply for scholarships, apply for grants, apply for school, different colleges that they, you know, that you want to apply to. So I would say that that was very important. That helped me. I actually received some scholarships because of that. So I felt without that push, I probably wouldn't have, you know, pushed myself to do that. So just seeking the right, I guess, the right advice from, if you do have those resources available, make sure you take advantage of them. And then, of course, your counselors, making sure that you seek their advice as well, because they do know a little bit more than what we do when we're in high school.
A lot of schools call those their go centers. I think that's what they call them now, are go centers, where you can go and get information on college. So you took advantage of those go centers and you went. Great, that's great. So what was your plan then once you started college? What did you do?
So when I actually went to my first day of orientation at UTRGV, I switched my major that same day. I was like, I don't know biology after I did, you do little stations of kind of like a little preview of what you're, I don't know how it is now, but back then they did like a preview of what you were going to study. And so that same day I went to the advisor and I was like, I want to change. So I changed to nursing.
Mhm.
And I still wasn't happy. I changed my major to nursing. I was in there for 2 years, almost 3. And in my 3rd year of college, I decided, nope. I knew I wanted to do something, health related, but I just didn't know exactly what. So then I explored my options and I decided for the 3rd time to change my major to public health. So once I did that, I felt, I was happy where I was. I felt like I was still involved in helping the community in some way, just not hands-on with doctors, nurses,
Right.
with patients.
Can you tell us a little bit about what public health is and what drew you to that?
Okay, so public health kind of just covers, community, a lot of community events, community outreach. And even though I'm not doing that exactly right now where I'm at, we still are very involved with the community, with the PATHS Project. So public health just kind of, it's very general, very broad. And then once you do that, you can just kind of branch into something specific. And that's the good thing, is that with public health, there's so many jobs that you can get. You don't just have to be that specific thing that, let's just say, and nothing against nursing, but, you go for nursing, you have to become a nurse, but then you have NICU, you have trauma. So it's kind of like that, very general. And then once you decide what you want to do, you can become more specific or look for a job that's more specific for what you would want to work with.
Right. So after you were in college, I know that you were still in college when you came to work with us at PATHS. So tell us what brought you to the PATHS Project.
Okay. So on my last year of college, I had this job, and I was wanting to look for something that would expose me more to what I was getting my degree. And I felt like I wanted to do that before I finished college. That way I had, a secure place or a secure job after college in something that I went to school for. So I remember I was looking for different jobs and I came across the PATHS Project, the intern position, and I felt I was qualified for it. So I applied, and I heard that it was very competitive. And so I was like, I don't know if I'll get this, but it's worth a shot. And if I do, perfect. It's, it's going to go hand in hand with my degree. And so sure enough, I got the job, and I was there for, I believe, 2 years or 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. Well, you finished 3, right? Because you were here through the summer. So you pretty much finished PATHS today. Just to give some background to students, and I want to welcome Mr. Alonso's class and Ms. Alvarez's class. Hi, guys. We see you. Hi. We're very excited to have you join us. If you have questions for Rachel or myself, you can put them in the chat box of the Zoom recording, and we'll be happy to answer it. Or you can, when I ask for questions, you can come to the microphone and ask them live. We can do that also, whichever you'd like to do. So I know that you started when PATHS started. PATHS, this is our 4th year of having the PATHS Project in your schools. And the Rachel started with year 1, and then we had year 2, and then we had year 3 that we called PATHS Tres because, you know, we had a 3rd year, and now we're starting year 4. So tell us some of the things you did as an intern. First of all, were you paid to be an intern, or did you do this for free? Because some internships are, you don't get paid in their short term, and some of them you do get paid for.
Yes, so I actually was paid through Region 1 for my internship for the 3 years. So that was a plus because, like Galia said, sometimes a lot of these internships that you're trying to get into to, you know, get that exposure, that connection, they don't pay you. So that was a plus, and I'm very thankful for that. While I was an intern at Region 1, we did a little bit of everything. We helped design the website, we helped with the conferences, we helped with Cybermentoring. We did pretty much a little bit of everything. Anything they asked us to do, we were on it. And that was fun. You know, there was some stuff that we had to learn how to do, but it was very fun. My favorite part was the helping with the conferences that we would have here at DHR. And when we were helping, I would have never thought I'd be on this end of it now.
Don't give away our surprise.
I'm so sorry. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed being there under Dr. Alvarado. She's awesome.
She is awesome. I
Her
agree.
vision, yeah, her vision for the PATHS project, I love it.
So how was it to work? Because sometimes there's set hours, sometimes it's flexible. Sometimes you have a boss who says, no, this is what it's gonna, you know, be like. And I know you were a college student while you were being an intern. So tell us a little bit about the working conditions of being an intern.
Yes. So again, I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful because it was very flexible. Dr. Alvarado, instead of her giving us a schedule, she asked us, like, give us your schedule for school and we'll work around it. So there was times that I would go to school at 8 a.m., get out at 9 from class, then go to work for an hour or 2, and then go back to class, and then go back to work for the rest of the day. So that was a really big perk of being down the street too from the school.
Yeah.
The office was right down the street from school. And that was
For those of you who don't know it, Region 1 is next door to UTRGV, so it's easy to go back and forth if you're going to school there.
Yes, so that was a plus. And then when I finished my bachelor's degree, I took a year off. I decided to go back for my master's, and it was the same thing, very flexible. If I needed a day off to study, Dr. Alvarado would approve it. And so it was very, very helpful. And so I'm very glad that I had that position during my undergrad and my master's degree. It was a big plus for me.
So now, to give away our surprise, now you finished your master's, congratulations. And now you're working. Tell us a little bit about what you do at your job.
So now I get to still work with the PATHS team, but on the hospital side, the DHR side, which when I was an intern, we worked with the people on this side, and now I kind of took over. When the internship was done, Dr. Alvarado told me about this position, and I decided again to apply. Again, I didn't think I would get it. I don't know. I guess you see the competition and you're like, okay, well, you know, worth the shot. So I decided to apply, and thankfully I got the position. And so now I'm able to work with PATHS. I'm being able to continue working with PATHS, but now on this end. So now instead of as an intern doing some stuff, I'm actually the one coordinating all the events, all the conferences. And so it's very, very different, but I like it. And I am able to use the experience that I did have as an intern, that I gained, that I learned as an here in the DHR side of things.
And so in your job. And we're very happy too, because now we have someone who knows what we do, knows our routine and is now working and managing from the DHR side. So tell me some of the challenges that you faced through all of this, either high school, changing your major. I know sometimes that's very challenging. And then applying for these jobs, because I think most students, and I want to remind students who are watching that if you have questions about internships or going to college or being in the healthcare field, you can put them in the chat, and Rachel will be happy to answer them. And we'd like to know, things that you're wondering. So tell me some of the challenges you faced in this path you took.
So if I go back to high school, I would say my greatest challenge was my parents didn't go to college. So now my dad, he decided to go back. So, but it was during high school, he hadn't been back. So it was just kind of trying to figure things out on my own, how to apply. And so again, going back and, making sure you take advantage of your resources, your counselors, your teachers, asking them for help. I promise it's worth it, because then you're lost. And then, you look back years ahead, when the years pass, you look back and you're like, well, I should have asked. And, it's worth it to ask, take advantage of those opportunities and those, your resources. And so that was my greatest challenge, is not having somebody to guide me. And so thankfully, my school offered that financial aid, the Go Center, to where I took advantage. And so it was kind of hard to, have those questions and not be able to get answers at home. I had to stay or, find out from just, throughout the years of my high school years. But that was my biggest challenge. And when, I survived, I'm okay. And then getting into college, I would say it wasn't so much a challenge, but there came a time where I started doubting myself, because I saw everybody was graduating, that, since I changed my major, I had to start all over again. I had to take classes from the start. And so I started getting discouraged because everybody was graduating, and I'm like, am I ever going to graduate? So instead of finishing in 4 years, I finished in 5. And at the end, I'm like, it was worth it, as long as I'm doing something that I like now. And so I'd rather have, taken longer and doing, ensure that I'm doing something that I like, rather than, looking back.
Okay, I forgot to put this one at 10 o'clock, so we're a little bit late to this presentation, but that's fine. You can continue.
Sorry, go ahead.
And so just, if you find yourself in that circumstance in college, it's not you, you're just be glad that you're doing something that you like. And, don't look down on yourself, or don't think that, oh, everybody's ahead, or everybody's, they're, getting ahead with their life and finishing their degree, getting their jobs. And you're better off taking your time and doing something that you're going to end up liking. And speaking from experience.
Yeah, I think you're a good example of that you had a goal. Let's say the day you walked across that stage at graduation from high school, you had a goal in mind, and where you are now is very different, but also very similar. You're still in the healthcare field, you're still helping people, you're, still putting yourself out there. And yeah, I think changing your mind is not a bad thing. Because you learn and you experience, and you use those experiences to shape what you want. Everyone thinks they know what they want to do when they're 18, 20 years old. I will tell you, my story is that I did not take Spanish in high school because I didn't think I would ever need it. And 6 months after high school, I met a man from Mexico City, and we were married for 34 years. And I did need Spanish. Even though my 18-year-old self didn't think I would need Spanish, I did need Spanish. So I think we all learn from our experiences. So it's not a bad thing to change your mind, and that's good. So tell me some of the best things about this path that you went on.
Well, the best part is, I guess I look back now and I'm so glad that I chose, to do the choices that I've made in the past. It hasn't been perfect, and there has been, like I said, different obstacles, But in the end, I can look back and say that I'm glad. I'm proud of myself for making the decisions that I did. And again, it's not always going to be proud of yourself for the first time or the first decision. And sometimes it takes you having to go different pathways than what you thought to, like Claudia said, to learn that, it is what you need, it is what you want.
Right.
And so just looking back, being proud of the choices that I made, the support from, different professors, different teachers in high school. And then of course, at Region 1, they were very supportive of, going back to school. They weren't like, oh man, like, we're like, go back. This is,
Yeah.
And so that was all positive outcomes of everything.
Yes. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing today. What are some of your day-to-day activities you do on your job?
Okay, so now a regular day looks like mostly preparing for the event, kind of coordinating, getting with different people here at the hospital to see if they're able to come and, speak at our conferences, speak at our the future Cybermentoring. And then I know we are preparing to have different events. We're having our middle school and then our high school, our elementary. And we have our simulated work-based experiences where the high school students are going to come here to the office and they'll be able to see a day in the life of nursing, pharmacy, and general medicine. So right now we're preparing for that. We're, reaching out to different physicians, different nurses, different pharmacists to see if they can come and be a part of those days to demonstrate, and then of course have those simulated experiences where you get to do a lot of hands-on and really see what it's like to have that career. And just kind of expose the students to different healthcare careers, because it's not just, doctors, nurses, it's so much more.
So if you could do something differently, what would you have done different? That's a tough question, I know.
Yeah. I guess I would say to just make sure, because my first year of college, again, I was very undecisive, and that's okay. But, take more advantage of the resources that were available. I wish I would have, joined more clubs in college. I didn't, because I was, focused on studying. And so I would just say, don't let studying be the only thing. Make it a priority, but don't let it be the only thing, because when you join clubs, you become more social, you make more friends, and then they even help you in you find out that a lot of the times you have classes with them. So I would just, if that's one thing that I would do different, is to just take advantage of the different resources in my first year of college.
So that goes, do you have any other advice for students who are thinking of going into the healthcare field? Do you have any other advice for them?
I would say to just try to make connections with your professors, because a lot of the times these professors have their connections. And I remember when I joined the PATHS team, a lot of the professors that we were working with at UTRGV were my professors. So that's the obvious right there, is that they'll help you if you really, really ask for their help. So if that's something that I can advise, is just to, once you get into your core classes, the major courses, those are usually your last 2 years of college. Just make those connections and see if, because a lot of the times these professors work with different people and they might have internship opportunities under them as well. So
that's kind of the theme of today's cyber mentoring, is there are really great opportunities in the Rio Grande Valley. You just have to need to seek them out. And I think you said two things that were very important, and I'd like you to expand on those. Is that you said two things. Number one, you didn't think you'd get the intern job. And number two, you didn't think you would get the DHR job. So what do you think, and this may take a minute to think, what do you think made you the best candidate for the intern job and the DHR, if they were different things, or maybe it was the same thing? But what's your thought on that?
So the reason I say I didn't think I would get it is because I didn't have the experience. And a lot of the times that's what people want. They want experience. So I think what helped me get the paths was that I was just true. You know, when I went in for my interview, I was very honest. I said, you know, this is who I am. I'm still in college. I don't have the experience. And so I feel like just being honest about who you are and what your plans are. And again, you don't have to know it all, because when I came for my interview at DHR, they asked, where do you see yourself in the future? And I was like, I don't have a set, a set vision of what I want to do. I'm here to grow. And so just being very honest. And again, they do look for experience. And so I think what helped me get into DHR was having the experience with the PATHS team. So, we had already worked hand in hand with DHR. So I think that experience helped me to get this job as well. And again, I met the qualifications, but there was some stuff that I was just like, maybe they're gonna, look too much into that and not hire me. But thankfully, I really think that my past experience did help.
Okay, that's great. So some students would like to know a couple of things about you. So they want to unmute and ask those questions. So
Okay, now they get all shy now.
of course. Maybe you could ask for them, Mr. Alonso.
Well, the first question was, they're saying she looks very, very young, and they're wondering, how old are you?
I am 25. I know I look like I'm 25.
Okay, also, they want to know, like, for example, for the application process for the internship and the position you have now, like, what are some of the things they were really, you feel that were really focused upon to get you to where you're at now?
So my application for the PATHS internship, it was more focused on, they wanted to know, how should I say this? Their main focus was trying to get somebody who was in any healthcare major. They wanted somebody, because essentially the PATHS project is to, discover the different pathways to become different healthcare, like the different healthcare careers that are offered. So they kind of picked, different people that had different pathways, and that was one for region 1. And then
Let me expand on that just a second. Because I'm the one who interviewed Rachel, and I didn't ultimately make the decision, but I'm very happy with those who did make the decision, because I'm hoping you can see Rachel and I have a very good relationship, both personally and through work, and are very excited, to be together today. We are educators. So my background is education, even though it's math and science, it's not healthcare. And I think it was very important that we bring interns on the team that had experience that we did not have. So being a healthcare major was very important, as Rachel had said. And then what about DHR?
Like I said earlier, I think having the experience that I get with PATHS helped me to really, stand out. And the application process was pretty simple. There wasn't much to it, but again, I think the experience that I had with PATHS really
Helped get you the job at?
Yes.
So you told me something about your interview, the last question they asked you and your response. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So when I interviewed with the doctor here, he said, what's something that, makes you stand out more from everybody else? Like, why should we offer you this job? And I said, well, if I'm honest with you, I don't think anybody has the information that I possess now with the PATHS team, because, it's one thing to work with the PATHS, but to work under and know all the back ends of how everything works and what they expect and what they want. And so I told him, I said, I think I have what nobody else offers, and that's the experience with PATHS. And so I feel like that's what really helped me.
I think so too. And I can tell you, Rachel is kind of a quiet person. So when she told me she had answered that, I was really excited. And even before she told me she got the job, I thought, oh, she's going to get the job, because that was the right answer. Is I already have a relationship with the people you're working with, and I know what they want and what they don't want. And I think that was really important. We are, they're changing classes for Miss Alvarez. So she'll have a new class come in, and maybe we'll repeat a few of the things we said for her new class. Any other questions? Go ahead and you can unmute yourself. I don't know if Miss Garcia, Mr. Moreno, or Montelongo, if you all are with the classes or by yourself and have questions, but we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Going back to what you had said about changing majors, I think that's actually very common, but looking back now, what's some advice that you would give to students here in high school so that they can maybe have an easier transition and not have it so bumpy to where maybe I should do this or that, or is it something you believe that you just have to go through and experience so that you can say like, yeah, this is.
Yeah, well, I think both. I feel like I stand in the middle when it comes to that, because I feel like if I say no, make up your mind now in high school and stick with that, I'd be, going against what I did. And so I truly believe that, if you know what you want to do, that's great. And again, like I said, getting involved as much as you can in your high school years with different, extracurriculars to see if, there's something that does spark an interest. But then again, if you don't know what you want to do or you think you know what you want to do, then I think that and as far as like this transition, seek advice, get the resource, use the resources on campus. If you do decide to change your mind after you start college, just seek your advisor, their advice, and that's what they're there for. And they helped me switch it 2 or 3 times, so it was pretty smooth. There wasn't really much of a hassle, just kind of having to take courses all over from the start that I could have taken my first year, but that's mostly what your first year comes the basic is called basic. Take your English, your math, your history. So you kind of have those first years, or the first year to kind of decide if that's what you want to do.
And I think it's okay to not declare a major at the very beginning, and because you might not know, the path you want to take, even though you've been through programs of study in high school. Sometimes it's just as important to know what you don't want to do as it is to know what you want to do. So yeah.
Wait, I have one question here.
Do you ever regret changing your major?
I sometimes do, but it's not a bad regret. Like I'm miserable where I'm at because I'm very happy where I'm at. But there's sometimes where I feel like, what would have happened if I was, a nurse or a PA and, the different experience. But as far as like regret, no, but sometimes I do wonder, what would have happened if I did it another path. But I'm honestly very happy where I'm at.
So do you think the regret might be more financial than day-to-day job?
No, the hospital, I don't know why there's some when I look around, so that's the kind of regret that I have. I sometimes think like, being there to do work in the hospital, to work with patients, because I'm a people person, so I enjoy people, so I feel like being a nurse would have been another choice, a good choice. So yeah, it's not a terrible regret. I'm not miserable.
Right. Plus you're 25. You have lots of years ahead of you. If that's something you want to do, you still have time to do.
Yeah.
One more question over here.
Sure.
Is there an age requirement for you to apply to the internship or to get the position?
or could you just be any age?
I think Claudia can answer that question. I'm not too sure.
I
I
can
was-
answer that because we hired 3 interns at the same time. I believe Robin's a little older than you. Yes? Or no, you guys are the same age. Oh, okay. So on Friday, we'll have another Cybermentoring and you're going to get to meet Robin Dominguez. And Robin was hired at the same time as Rachel, but Robin took a very different path than Rachel did. And so she's going to share her story with you. So what do they say on TV? Like, coming soon, coming soon. But we hired a 3rd intern at the same time, Andres Baron. And Andres was 18 years old, had just graduated high school like the week before we interviewed him. He was straight out of high school, but he was going into the LVN program at STC, and he needed a job that he could work while he was going to school. So he had the LVN program, which is it's a very grueling program. It takes a lot of your time, but he was also able to work with us and Rachel and Robin and do that. And actually, he finished this summer and he's currently working at Rio Grande Regional Hospital. And he interviewed about 2 weeks ago for a promotion. So he's already up for a promotion at his new job. And interestingly enough, our current intern is his sister, Danielle, who is in the nursing program at STC right now. So I would say, I don't think that there's a hard and fast rule, but I think you have to have graduated high school and be at least 18. If we have openings, we're happy to hire you. Also, we are not the only ones in the Valley who hire interns. There are pharmacies, hospitals, doctors' offices, other businesses that hire interns. Sometimes it's a short-term assignment that you're doing and not get paid for, but you're there for the experience. Like Rachel said, she wished she had more experience, but then there are some that are paid internships that are either short-term or long-term. So that's a great question. That's a really good question.
Any others?
Anything else?
How many hours do you would you say that you participated or in the internship, or how many hours did you put in like during the week?
When I was in the internship,
Yes.
that would always vary sometimes. Again, because when you're in college, you have semesters. So from like August to December, it was one schedule, and then January to May, we had to change our schedule again. So sometimes we would work, I think in the summer, we worked the 40 hours, and then when school started, we would do 20, 15 a week. It just depended on our classes and again, how time consuming they were, because some classes were more time consuming than others. So sometimes, like I said, we would just ask like for a Friday or a Monday, or we would work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and have Thursday, Friday to go to the. So it all depended, but it was 40 hours, and sometimes not even more than 20 hours. We were considered part-time, but they allowed us to work full-time schedule. Again, very flexible. They were very flexible with that.
I can tell you our 3 current interns, one of them, the one who is in school in the nursing program at STC, she works about maybe 10 to 15 hours a week. We have one that this is her only job and she works full time. She works 35 to 40 hours a week. And then Robin is still one of our interns. She's still in her master's program and she works remotely, and it varies. There are some weeks she works, 30 plus hours. There's some weeks she works, fewer hours. I think she's going to start working fewer hours because she has another, not an internship, but a part-time job that she needs to do for her master's program. So it varies. We're very flexible here because there are 2 of us that work this job full time. It's our full-time job. So we're able to do a lot of the requirements of it. But like we have a website, which is pathscentral.com. And I thought when we started it that I would be the one doing the majority of the work. That's my background. I have a master's degree in technology. So I thought, well, that's something I'll be spending all my time. I really haven't had to touch the website at all. The interns do all the work on the website, which has made me very happy because I can do it, but there's other things that I would rather be doing than working on a website. So if you want to know more about PATHS, you can go to pathscentral.com and you'll see all the interns and what we do. We have another question. It says, did you ever volunteer at a hospital or someplace else before becoming an intern?
I actually didn't. I wanted to, but I just never did. And so I have to experience very good. And it does. So I would be,
Yes.
you know, into the
Good. Any other questions? Does anybody have something that before we wrap up the session, anything else that you'd like to ask? I know, Ms. Alvarez, you have. It is, I know, we're still having trouble hearing you, Rachel. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it's happening. See, like now you're cutting in and out. So, but I do think we're at a point to wrap this up if there are no other questions. Rachel, I want to thank you today for joining us. I really thought about doing this over the summer, and I thought it was really important, especially now that you guys are out and working, to capture this moment, you know, in your life. And I want to thank all of the campuses for joining us. Our next Cybermentoring will be this Friday at 10 o'clock. And we will be interviewing Rachel's partner, Robin, who was our other intern. And she has a very different story than Rachel has. She was interested in becoming a dentist. And so I'm very excited to hear her pathway and to share that with you. So thank you very much, Rachel. Everyone, have a good day and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.